business unit and legal entity. Also, the setup users are not licensed users. So Oracle will not charge for this setup accounts or implementation user accounts. Oracle will charge only for HCM users or the non-HCM users created from managed users. So the next topic is Sandbox. Okay, so basically the Sandbox in Oracle Fusion Cloud is a copy of, so we have this system. So this system will be used by many people, right? Either it could be many developers, there may be multiple developers, or the end users also, right? So as a implementer or as a setup user, I don't want to disturb others. I don't want to see the changes I'm making to test or to implement will not see until unless I commit those changes, or until unless I approve my changes, or until unless I done proper testing and verified it is working fine. So then only I will make those changes to be available for all the users. So to achieve this uh, behavior, we will use the sandbox. So basically, if we are going to make some change, we will create a sandbox. So that sandbox is specific to single user. And then all the configurations, right? So it will be in that sandbox. You can make changes. Once you test it properly, then you can just publish that sandbox. So if you are still working in the sandbox mode with your user, so whatever changes you made will not be visible to others, even for other developers, unless they used your sandbox, they activated your sandbox. So it will not be visible to them. And this sandboxes also help to work with multiple users and multiple implementation users. Suppose you can create your own sandbox, right? If you are a team of some 4 or 5, right, or even any number of team. So each one can work. Each one can create their own sandbox. They can work with uh, their sandbox. They can publish their changes. Meanwhile, other person can do their changes, and then they can publish their changes. So that way, this will help to work uh, with multiple peoples to extend this application with multiple people, and so that way the implementation uh, time, right, will reduce, and it will the project can complete in some less time. Okay, so once we create a sandbox, only for one user, only one sandbox we can make active. So we can delete the sandbox once we create, and if you don't want to publish those changes, or if something is corrupted in that sandbox, so we can just delete that. So once we publish the sandbox, whatever changes so we are going to publish, so the same sandbox changes cannot be reverted. So if you want to change something, you need to create one more sandbox, and then you can make changes. But whatever we publish it, those changes cannot be revoked.
Mhm. So
One
again,
more.
one doubt.
Yeah, let me.
Uh,
Next, download all option. So we can download this, but this download option, right? It's mostly like in a developer. So it will have some jar files, etc. Uh, so all XML data. So basically, if something support needed, Oracle support needed this changes, so we can provide that file to them. But it is not a readable document. So it is just in XML or JSON format. Then if you can exit from you can exit Sandbox from a user. Now I'll quickly go through the environment. Okay. So this Sandbox tool will get like we can get only this access through application composer tool. No, sales administrator role, we can get this tool. So if you go to configuration tab, so you can see sandboxes. You click this sandbox icon. Yeah, click on this create sandbox. Then you will get this option to uh, to give a name. Suppose so format can be uh, something meaningful. So its system doesn't validate the name here, but it is better to give a proper format. And then sandbox description you can give. Uh, now you have two options: publishable, non-publishable, yes or no. So if you choose yes, then whatever changes you are going to make, you're going to do in this sandbox can be published to mainline, and it will be available to the end users or to all the users in the system. If you select no, so uh, you can make changes, you can test here, and you can delete this sandbox. You will not be able to publish the changes whatever you make if it is in publishable, non-publishable mode. Then we have different tools to extend this application. So basically, if you go to this application composer tool, uh, okay, so before going to application, okay, so I'll activate application composer tool and then appearance tool. So now our goal is to make some appearance change for this Oracle Fusion application, right? Or to add some custom field to the object. So if you just click create, so it will create, but it will not activate for this user. But if you click on create and enter, it will create the sandbox and it will activate the sandbox to this user. So now I will just click on create and enter so that sandbox will get created and activated for this logged in user. So once it is activated, you can see a yellow bar with sandbox details. And here you can see sandbox details. You will get an option to leave this sandbox or exit this sandbox. And next to that, we can see all the active tools that we selected. And all the available sandboxes we can see from here. Publish it sandboxes we can see from here. and deleted sandboxes. So mostly deleted sandboxes will not be here because so it will be deleted automatically. So we will not be able to see once we delete this sandbox, we will not be able to see here. Okay. So now from here, we can go to this tools, respective tools, or even you can go to navigator and click on the respective tool. So both ways it allows. Suppose you have not activated some tool, but you are trying to access from navigator the same tool. So then system will not allow to make those changes. So whatever the tools that we are going to use, so we need to activate in sandbox and then we need to use for extending. Uh, so now I'll go to application composer tool. I'll explain application composer tool in detail in coming sessions. We go to application composer. So application composer, we can go from that tool or from here as well. Click on application composer tool. It will navigate to that tool. I'll make a simple change and then I'll just show you how to publish the sandbox. So we will go to application composer tool. Okay. Here, if we go to objects, suppose we want to create a field uh, in account object. Okay. Looks like it is renamed. So we'll try to add one field to contact. So what I'm doing is there is a contact object which stores the contact information. So there I'm going to add a new a field to capture their their something like interests. Or just I'll add a comment field. I'm creating comment. This is just to show how the sandbox will get locked and all. So we'll see in detail later. So comment field is created. Now, if you notice contact object, there is a lock symbol, right? This says this contact object is locked by this sandbox. So if someone, some other developer comes to the same object with publishable mode, right? In Sandbox, we have two modes, right? Publishable mode and non-publishable mode. If the other developer also comes uh, creates a new sandbox and with publishable mode only, and if they want to modify this contact object, so then they will not be able to do this change. So they will get error that so this contact object is logged by this sandbox. It will say that error message. So we need to wait until this sandbox is published or deleted. So then the second person can create or can work on this contact object. So if you are going to create a non-publishable sandbox, then it doesn't lock. So anyone can create non-publishable sandbox and can work with the same object or different object, whatever. So basically, non-publishable sandbox will not affect any locking, but publishable sandbox will affect with this locking feature. So once you made these changes, go to this publish, click on this publish, click yes. You want to continue. And here you can see the changes in XML format or XSD format. So you can download these changes, but this is not a readable format. Once you create the sandbox, so the next you can still add additional tools is sandbox even after creation. Okay, so basically then you can update description, etc. Fusion Cloud, but is you can't change the publishable property. So only we have this system. So at the time of creation, we can choose will be use publishable property. So initially, if you create a non-publishable sandbox, and if you want
today
to,
we will
if you
see
are thinking to publish,
user creation,
then that's
different
not
types
possible.
of users
You need
available
to
in
recreate the
oraclefusion cloud,
sandbox.
and
you need to
once we
rekey the
once done with
changes
this
and then publish.
user creation, we will see sandbox operations or sandbox concept in Oracle Fusion Cloud.
So then we will publish this sandbox by clicking this publish button.
This is
in
the
actions,
meeting agenda.
we still have
Different
this
types
leave
of user,
sandbox.
creation of
We
HCM
have
user,
once
creation of non-HCM user,
we leave
creation
this
of
sandbox
implementation
from this
user,
from
and
this
then we'll
user.
see
Then we can
sandbox
delete
concept
this sandbox
and a demo on sandbox.
Then only we will get option. Or if you are going to publish the sandbox, just click on this publish.
The first one
it
is
will ask a confirmation. If you click yes,
what
the
is
sandbox
user
will get published.
in
Now
Oracle
I'll
Fusion
just show
Cloud.
also to
So
leave sandbox
to able to log in to the system
and exit.
We need
So
user credentials.
Here you can delete the sandbox.
So we need
by
to
clicking
create
delete.
a user with some responsibilities.
So that's all
so
about
that they will get access
sandbox
to log in and to their
topic.
daily operations.
Take some Q&A questions.
So for that, we need to
okay. So suppose, right, if there are multiple people working on the same on the sandboxes and making changes, so the first person will publish the sandbox, right? Then user 2 creates a sandbox. Okay, let me give this scenario. User 1 created a sandbox and he is making some changes. He's still doing. And user 2 also created a sandbox and he is also making some changes. Then user 2 will publish before user 1. Okay, so then so user 1 so user 2 changes will get already published to mainline, but user 1 is still doing work in a sandbox, right? So user one will get a notification here, okay, with refresh needed. So there will be, so if other person publish it, right? User one who is doing this, who is still doing, will get a refresh icon here. So he can click on that refresh and he can sync the mainline changes to this sandbox, and then he can continue work or he can publish with his changes. Let me create another sandbox. Okay. So now what I'll do, I'll try to publish the sandbox. Okay. Let me activate it. Okay. Now this sandbox is published. So you can see the status here and publish process, publish progress. Once the current state is completed, so then it means the sandbox is published. Okay, now it's published. Now the user two, right, or same user or right, so he will get this message, refresh. So if you want to sync the mainline changes to this sandbox, you need to click on this refresh, click yes, so that whatever changes published in the previous sandbox will get synced to this sandbox, and then we can publish with our changes. So this is how the sync will happen.